All right, howdy, y'all. What's poppin', Tub Nation? Welcome to Tub Takes. This is a video podcast where we go over what's been making waves in the VGC metagame. And today, I'm joined by Nick Navarre,
Hello.
Roshan Ball,
Oh, what's poppin', Tub Nation?
and we've got John Hu.
What's up?
Um, we are, this is a VGC-focused podcast on the various facets of VGC, the video game championships for Pokemon. The latest in Scarlet and Violet competitive Pokemon. So we'll talk about the tournaments that took place over the latest weekend and whatnot, or the last week. Other metagame things that come up as we're talking. Also, current events and the latest news for the circuit. There's actually two big announcements that we'll be talking about today that, if you didn't see on Twitter, we'll be able to inform you here. But otherwise, we'll be giving our tub takes on the latest circuit info that came out this week. Answering your questions as well. So if you want us to comment on anything, if you say oh, that team looks cool, talk about that team, or you didn't finish this point earlier, what can you finish that, and just anything, just feel free to mention anything. And lastly, Adi will be posting this on YouTube in a couple days, so make sure to check out CK49 on YouTube for that one. If you want to just listen to it during your day or whatever, you can't do live, but I guess with that, let's launch into things, and start with the first order of business. There was the Nino Pokebros tournament on what was the date? I don't know. It was I played in this one. Was it the 23rd?
Or third.
Yeah.
Or third.
Probably wasn't Christmas Eve, so
Christmas
the one
Eve.
before that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this one was done all in one day. Best of one Swiss, best of three top cut.
Oh, no.
And
no. Best
of
of
course.
three Swiss, best of one Top Cup, my friend.
No,
no,
that's a different part.
Is that a different one?
later.
Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
jerk. I'm sorry.
No, that is next.
We're getting to that tour.
We will talk about that
I think we are
tournament.
talking
My bad. I'm so sorry. I was so
Welcome,
cautious.
Animus VGC, to the stream.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, of course, Kyle hops in here to see us talk about the Nino Poke Rose tournament. Your timing is great, as that tournament was won by none other than Animus, Kyle Livinghouse. As you can see, the team makes two appearances here. It's in the first place and second. So
Excalibur and the Mimikyu slots.
why don't I go ahead and click this link? Does that work? All right, cool. So we've got Kingambit, Amoonguss, Salazzle, Excalibur, Mimikyu, and Tauros, Paldea, Water. Aqua Breed. Is that what I have to? Is that what I have to write on
It's
the
called
team
Aqua
sheet?
Breed. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta
We
write
have to
Aqua Breed.
write Paldean Tauros Aqua Breed?
I think something like
write
that.
all
Crazy. You need a pencil as large as the one that's in Robin's background to write that.
True.
Wait, what do we put? Is it Fire Breed?
Yeah.
Wait, Blaze? Is it Blaze Breed?
Blaze? It's not
That's
fire.
awesome.
It's not fire.
So
I don't
yeah,
know
let's talk about some of the things on this team. Some of the standout things. I think the thing that probably stands out the most is the Salazzle, with a Focus Sash. The ability is useless. Unfortunately, if you're going to play Salazzle with any kind of conventional set that's strong in VGC, it feels like it just has no ability. Oblivious stops.
No, you can poison
Oh,
the
it should have
poison
used
face
Oblivious,
with
right?
Bloodhound.
That makes it immune to being taunted, so it
Yeah,
can
no,
taunt.
taunt is-
It
yeah.
Oh,
Has a
was that like an upgrade?
has
I
a
forgot about
use.
that. I'm thinking of a couple gens ago. Yeah, no, that actually does still have a use.
No,
though.
that's the Soaking ability, right? It just
Yeah.
blocks it from
This
being
prevents taunt.
It used to. I thought it used to stop just attraction.
Yeah, yeah. It was
But
just
I-
for
no,
track.
but-
And I got buffed for anything mental herb
Yeah.
stopping is stopped by.
Wait,
No,
no,
it
it doesn't.
doesn't
It doesn't
stop
stop
Encore.
Encore, does it? I thought it was just taunt.
I think
No,
it
it
does.
doesn't have Encore. No.
I thought it does.
Anyway, we're all just spewing a bunch of misinformation, so that's great. We know
One
what
of
we're
us is
talking about. I
probably right.
promise. I promise we know what we're
At
talking about.
least one of us is probably right.
Yeah, I forgot
Seriously
that.
analyze this team now.
I don't know why. When I look at Salazzle and think that it has the ability Oblivious, I don't translate that one to one to thinking, oh yeah, that's the same ability as Slowbro and Slowking, because they just seem like such different Pokemon. But yeah, Oblivious is solid for stopping prankster taunts. Pokemon like Grimmsnarl would stop your taunt, and then you could taunt it.
Yeah, you can taunt Murkrow as well to be able to set up on it instead of getting hazed.
Mhm.
Technically has a use this format.
Yeah, that's cool. So then just fake out dual stabs. It's a speedy Pokemon, so it's, you know, going to fake out before a lot of things. And yeah, other than that, we've got, you know, Rocky Helmet Amoonguss with four. Sorry, I wanted to say 3 attacks, but it's just no protect. You know, it's got double attack, Clear Smog and Pollen Puff, with Terra Dark also to, you know, probably stop Prankster moves. This Kingambit is the Water Terra. The Baxcalibur also Water Terra. And Tauros is Terra Fire. There's actually... Oh, there's 2 fires, 2 water. That's fun. Otherwise, is there any other major things that you guys want to mention about this team that stand out to you and are interesting?
It's the number of Terra Blasts I've ever seen on a team.
That's true. I said before the format started, I was like, Terra Blast seems like a 0 to 2 move. And since then, I feel like it's a 0 to 0 to 0 to 0 to 1 move. Like, I very rarely want Terra Blast, but it does find its way into a team, and usually I'm limiting myself to just 1. 2, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, like, it's cool on Gyarados. Apparently it's cool on Water Tauros, because sometimes you want to be a Fire Tauros instead.
Aldean Tauros Blaze Breed.
And
That does bring me
to
to,
be
like,
real, I have no clue what it's doing on Kingambit.
The other observation is like, it looks like it's just a lot of water and fire, which, defensively speaking, they are pretty good. Fire for resisting fairy, and then water, it's like always been a good type defensively. But we're also seeing it being used offensively here too. Tauros is kind of both, and Slazzle has fire. Gambit has the water one. So I don't know. Maybe it's like something they saw, and this takes advantage of certain things. Usually, you don't prepare for both fire and water at the same time.
It can be hard.
Especially the water type.
We also have Kyle in the chat saying that
He is here.
multiple Terra Blasts is outright wrong on the team.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Maybe one of
Terra
those
on the
isn't supposed to be
Kingambit
there.
though seems. I kind of do like the Terra on the Kingambit. At least I know you. I don't, but I also do. In that it seems like pretty cool coverage for like trying to cover Annihilate when it turns into a fire type, and then you have the Terra Blast for that. But then then you can just hit it with the Cow Tap. Like,
I mean, no, water would be super effective on a fire
Yeah, like
Annihilate.
extra damage is extra damage, and if you're trying to get margin.
The water type,
Arcanine.
the water type Terra on Kingambit flips its fire weakness into a resistance while also being able to hit them back super effectively, and it also flips technically ground. You know, like you could hit ground types super effectively now. You don't resist ground, but also the premier ground type in the format is Garchomp, so you're not exactly
ground
hitting it.
type that you hit super effectively with water in this format.
Yeah, right. I mean, Gastrodon. That's another one.
Mudtail's right there.
So Mudsdale, look out.
There's Garchomp, Gastro, and I guess like.
Yeah, Toedscruel, which was
Toedscruel's
also
not
just neutral to water, so... So yeah, no reason to talk about the second place team. We can move on. I also should mention how many people were in the tournament. I think it was like around 280 or something. At least that was how many...
Okay, before we switch over, I guess.
What's that?
It's
Switch over, I guess.
28
I want to
are
go
on
back
those
to
teams.
this. I guess I want to ask or talk about this format. You made a comment earlier when talking about the Amoonguss, in that you were saying that like, oh, it's just 2 attacks, and like kind of like it caught you off guard a little bit. But like, I guess I wanted to talk about Protect versus one of the attacks on Shroomer, because this is the format I have most not seen Protect on Shroom to the point where I get surprised by it. And I guess I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah, I just think that it's worth mentioning that, you know, Amoonguss has to pick a lot of different... It has like a decent amount of options available to it this format. I mean, mainly like Clear Smog, a Grass Attack, and Pollen Puff filling out the last... And then Protect, filling out those last couple of slots, you know, whereas like Spore and Rage Powder are kind of given. And yeah, it just seems like it's... you know, it's just worth noting where, you know, Kyle landed on it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other interesting thing was the Baxcalibur set on that team, and that the Baxcalibur is generally the Pokemon we've been seeing run Terra Blast, but it doesn't actually have it, and it's instead Swords Dance like a Guavberry with Glaive Rush Ice Shard, and I guess I'm a little interested in that because I've never seen that Baxcalibur play before.
What I will say about the Baxcalibur is that generally I'm kind of low on Terra Water, as it, you know, opens you up to being hit by grass type attacks, mainly from Meowscarada. and that's normally something that I don't like on bulkier Pokemon, and like Annihilate. Some people I've seen run Terra Water on Annihilate, but if you're setting up so many bulk ups, now getting crit through it that sucks. I'd much rather be Terra Fire, and if you're going to crit me, at least I resist it. However, in the case of Excalibur, it's usually pretty fine to Terra Water it because of how well it deals with Meowscarada with that Ice Shard. And you could also, hold your Terra until you're able to deal with the Meowscarada, but it deals with Meowscarada on its own pretty well with the priority Ice Shard.
Also, just want to point out that Salazzle's pretty good synergy with Excalibur. Vex just wants to be spamming Glaive Rush into things, and so Fire hits the Steel types and Poison hits the Fairies, so you just kind of cover all of its weaknesses, and Ice Shard can cover Garchomp for Salazzle. Fake Out gives it a lot of free space to set up Sword Stance. The two just have some pretty solid synergy, so props to Kyle and Will for figuring that out.
That was a pretty cool discovery for this weekend, and we'll have to see if people keep running with archetypes similar to this. Looking through the rest of these teams, we could talk about Chris Danzo's team really quick, but it's kind of 6 standard Pokemon. I'll click into it to see if there's any major things that I could take away from this one.
When I was talking about it was
After that, go to Cross ZS's team.
6 good stuff.
It's Choice Band Arcanine. That's a little bit unconventional on a team that looks like it's normally built around, defensive switch-ins and stuff. And while Arcanine is still definitely a good defensive switch-in with the Intimidate, we're a lot more familiar with seeing Arcanine go for, the Will-O-Wisp, the Snarl, the damage reduction after it switches in. But this one is, here to rough you up.
I like the Play Rough choice. I have personally been really liking Play Rough on Arcanine right now, just for hitting things like Excalibur without getting the attack boost, and hitting Hydreigon and stuff. And I think that's really nifty.
It's like he took a more defensive approach with the Hydreigon, running Snarl instead of Dark Pulse. Still Terra Steel, but Goggles just basically ensures that Moongus can't redirect her Dracos. They might hit a little less strong than the Life Orb version, but they're still...
Thing.
Yeah, it's still a stab Draco.
It's still stab.
It's gonna hurt.
I guess I also like the Meowscarada set. I've been seeing those a little bit more. Just stabs, protect, Trick Room, and just realizing you can be an offensive guy, but then also having
reverse.
Yeah.
That thing is pretty
good.
Or
just set up Trick Room for Yushim or your Sylveon or whatever.
Yeah.
Word on the street is that his Arcanine was not performing well, but the other 5 were quite good. So,
I believe he did stream this. I don't know. I think the VOD's probably still up because of 2 weeks. So, assuming he has his VODs up. But if you want to study his matches,
yeah,
I guess
it
you can go.
should be up twitch.tv/LunarCD.
So, Rajan, which team were you interested in talking about next?
I want to see Cross S. That team is so sick looking.
Which place?
Number 11.
Place 11.
Oh, okay.
It's the Palmot.
Not a defensive typing on. Number 11.
It's the Palmot Annihilate Mount.
Flying Terra.
There's not a single defensive typing on that team. That's the one I'm interested in.
All right, so we've got the Mouse Ape combo with a double redirection in DD to also. I lied. I was a fool for saying there was double redirection. Why did?
Oh my
how could I have assumed?
Oh my goodness!
Bodied, I guess.
What are we doing here?
There is not double redirection on this team. That is a Trick Room. Or not, a prison Trick Room. It's also imprisoning Psychic, which, I don't know, I'm struggling to think of a very big Psychic imprison, but that Hyper Voice imprison
Hyper Voice
is really cool for limiting opposing Sylveon.
My main question is that you could have just been running male in DD, but I guess the bulk was important enough to make it female in DD. I don't know, maybe...
That's a good point.
That's why. Sheet tour, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. If you don't have Follow Me, what did you choose this one for? I mean, just because of the bulk, I guess.
Yeah, it has to be, because Psychic Seed gives you the extra bulk. But I mean, I don't know, Male and D is not that much frailer. You can build it similarly.
Yeah, and so does
it's more stats, right? It's faster. You don't need it to be faster. It's stronger.
Does it have a higher attack stat?
It has a slightly higher.
Like,
Okay,
the
yeah.
waste
So
stats.
that's just the Latios versus Latios, where Latios is better if you need the extra damage exactly, and otherwise you just always use Latios because it's like slightly bulkier and has a lower attack stat. So like, just has those stats distributed better.
Something else to point out is that the Palmot doesn't have fake out, which is, I feel like, very
That's illegal, I believe.
underwhelming in open sheet. Like, they just know you don't have fake out now, right? So
Yeah.
they just get to play around your leads. And
The flow sheet tour.
yeah,
No,
it's
this
open
was
sheet.
this is open
Yeah,
sheet.
this is an open sheet tour. That's what.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's
Little
why I
different
have shit
form.
on everybody.
Right. But like, so this even knowing that Palmot didn't have fake out, it did still perform. And I mean, I do like Ice Punch on Palmot, right? Like when you look at Palmot, it's really hard to like that Pokemon has so many cool moves. It's just the coolest Pokemon in the format, right? Like you have the stabs that you want, Mach Punch, Fake Out, Revival Blessing. You want Ice Punch because Garchomp sometimes. I think it has Nuzzle, it has Volt Switch, and there's no actual pivots in this format. Like, I understand wanting to drop Fake Out. I just don't know how you're allowed to.
Yeah, this Mon has got like one of the, I don't know, it's got like such a strong move pool, so many options available to it, so this can be very hard.
Cool things.
Otherwise, a lot of the other choices here seem relatively conventional, but that Indeedee is pretty crazy to me.
Awesome.
Scotty W. Yeah, Annihilate keeps its Rage Fist stacks if it dies and comes back with Revival Blessing.
The counter
Cool
just runs
synergies.
cooldown. So
The coolest little synergies. That move is so funny.
Yeah, so Evan, thanks for letting me know. But yeah, I've actually got John at the max, and I can't turn him up
I can
individually.
turn
So,
myself.
so John, if you could eat your microphone, put it in your mouth,
Yeah,
and chew it up. Maybe
I
then
didn't know
people
this was
will
that
hear
kind
it.
of stream.
Yes. Yeah.
Yo, Pub ASMR.
You know, I mean, an ASMR stream would be pretty hype. Looking at the rest of these teams, any other ones, for people watching, feel free to, let us know if there's any team in particular you want us to look at. Otherwise, I'm looking down. We're not going to talk about anything that didn't make the cut just because there's only so much time in the stream, and there's so many other things to cover today. We've got a lot to talk about.
I just saw a bear tick at number 15.
There is a bear ticker right there on a mouse 18.
From
This is
Kim
all-
Nays.
Yep.
All right, so
Another mouse tape at 16.
opening this one up, this is Covert Cloak on the mouse with Terra Ghost. I feel like that's a bit overkill.
yeah, I was talking about it yesterday. That is
What
definitely
is
like
the point of that?
it's definitely like too much in my opinion. But I guess it's so you can Terra your Annihilate without having to dodge fake out.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the main reason I'm thinking of. But like it does seem super over. Like you could be doing something
Mouse
else.
doesn't
with
get killed by mouse is the whole point.
So let's talk about the star of the show, the Beartic. This was one of the first Pokemon that I was like looking at when Terra was announced, just because I was like, well, it could finally be a water type Swift Swimmer. That's just so funny. And here we go, Terra Water with the liquidation. I think it's funny. I don't know if it's better than a conventional water type in the rain. There's actually some decent Swift Swim options in the format. There's Dreadnought, Golduck if that's your cup of tea. There's Floatzel. There are some other options, but Beartic does come with the added ice coverage that will still have that 1.5 multiplier even after tearing into water. So that's at least neat.
I think that's just the main reason. Is like you get Ice Stab, you have like a lot of coverage, and you're strong. Like I think it's slightly stronger than Dreadnought. I don't remember what Dreadnought's base stat is, but I think it's stronger.
Dreadnought doesn't have base stats.
It has a base attack.
Like 112?
Yeah, so it's
It's
like
not very high for a sweeper.
We talking about
Okay.
It
Dreadnought?
doesn't have base
Figures.
power to toss around like.
No, it's
Okay.
115.
Wait. Are you talking about which one are you talking about, Nick?
We're talking about Dreadnought.
Okay, Dreadnought gets Head Smash.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter.
Do you
'cause
click it ever when you used it?
I had Rock Slide.
No, no,
I didn't have Head Smash on the
That's
set.
gonna
As I was saying, Dreadnought doesn't have any base power to throw around on its moves.
All right.
It also doesn't have an overwhelming stat.
Hold on, really quick. We have 2 questions from the chat that will maybe actually 3. We'll go ahead and respond to these
Well,
really
we
quick.
already
So-
did the Scotty one if you're looking at that.
Wait, what's that?
We already did the Scotty W one.
Oh, did you guys already answer that? Sorry, I was probably
Yeah.
reading
Yeah.
something. Then 2 then. Is Overgrow or Protean better on Meowscarada? I think it's kind of simple, but if you're using a Focus Sash on it, then Overgrow is almost undoubtedly better. If you're Choice Band, then Protean, I think, makes a good amount of sense. But even if you're a choice bandit, I also might still consider Overgrow, just because I don't want to lose both my grass and my dark typing. I like having both. But when you're only locked into one move, I could understand having Protean.
I've only run the Mon twice in like 2 tours, but in the 2 tours I played it in, which were like LCS, and then I guess I don't remember the other one. But anyway, in the LCS I was Protean, but I think in that team Overgrow was just better. I wasn't choice banned for what it's worth. So I think unless you're choice banned, I don't really know if Protean is ever better, because sometimes you want the grass type to dodge Rage Powder stuff, sometimes you want the dark type to dodge Prankster stuff. So if you're Protean, you can't have both when you attack. It's just like that.
Response to Summit City Jim's question: if you have Terra and have Protean, do you override your Terra type? Terra overrides everything.
Yeah.
So Protean, Soak, Magic Powder, whatever Hatteran's is.
Burn Up or Double Shock.
Burn Up,
not on
Double
game,
Shock.
but
All of the
Double
things
Shock.
that change your typing get beaten and eaten by Terra, and then Terra keeps that type throughout. So that's one really cool reason why Double Shock on the Palmot is just busted, because when you Terra Electric, you just kind of give up the con of losing your electric typing. You just spam that move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to just click it with extra boosted stab too, because of the Terra. Let's see. So you think Trick Room will be played more? I think that Trick Room is well positioned just because of how many people are running Tailwind. But I think building the right team is hard, and you still got to make sure that you can get through Dondozo, because that's very good at, killing turns. You can't take that thing out very quickly. And then I think one more question about a Dunsparce team.
I think the answer to your question, Fema, I can't pronounce it, I'm so sorry, but it's just DM John.
True, John is a Dunsparce
Don't do
fan.
that.
Go
Don't
to
do that.
@JWhoself
and slide into those DMs.
All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to go talk about the Frostmoth team, guys. That's in 19th place. And I think we're actually going to get maybe some Frostmoth action in another tournament later. I think the fun thing about this Frostmoth here is it's Quiver Dance with Ice Beam, Terra Blast, and Protect, and it has the Terra Electric, so it gets the Bolt Beam coverage.
Let's go, Bolt.
This mon is so cool, but like I don't know. Other than having Bolt Beam, I don't know what it really offers over Volcron.
Its
have
ability is
special
objectively broken.
It is
like,
broken ability.
it just straight up objectively broken. They compensated for it by not giving it many stats, but like ability just is like too strong for what an ability usually does. So like take it for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one thing to talk about with this team is that it's like super dedicated trick. So if they don't get it up, they kind of just lose, right? So
But at the same
moving second.
time,
I guess
they
don't
put
lose.
Imprison on the set.
But yeah, they also have Imprison, which I was talking about yesterday on stream, and I was like, there's like, the only reason I can think of is because you suck in a Torkoal. Like, all these mons don't fight
That's the
Torkoal.
big reason, right?
That's
So
a
that's
good
the
one.
only
That's a-
reason you're using Imprison.
There's a Hariyama right there.
That's a good analysis, though, John. I can respect it. And there's also Terra Water Amoonguss. Maybe there are some answers, but it doesn't seem great. There's also a Terra Electric Frostmoth. I bet that guy takes Eruption well when it's not
Probably takes
quadruple weak to fire.
Frostmoth,
It probably
like,
does.
I mean, that's the non-trick room mode, right? Like, you have fake out, you have redirection,
Yeah, yeah.
you have everything you can need.
Yeah, I do agree that a Frostmoth support set could be really cool. It's got some awesome options.
One compared to like a Volcarona would be like Wide Guard, though, right?
It's
Like,
going
what
to
else?
take somebody to break that mon.
And like, I guess Icy Wind, the speed control. It's a little bit different than Tailwind, but I think they both do get Tailwind as well. Anyway, there's a lot of other teams in this one, but there's also a lot of other things to talk about. So,
Apparently Fissure Dozo got top 4.
which one?
Top 4 Dozo.
Fissure Dondozo.
Oh, that
top
one's
four.
Fissure?
Let's take a look at top 4.
Shout out to Twitch chat for the good spot.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if this was that bait team that had gone around on
Yeah, it is
Twitter
Fissure.
that had
No,
gotten
it's
first.
a different team.
This is a different one. But yeah, that's Order of
really?
Wave Crash Protect Fissure. Fissure, pretty solid in the mirror, assuming you don't play against Flying Dondozo, because instead of, chipping at each other for 16% every other turn and then having 6 get healed off by the leftovers, you could just do 100.
You do
Yeah.
also have to hope they aren't sub either, because if they're sub, they are definitely just going to use all their subs to stop your fit.
Yeah.
Interesting to see order up
Speed.
like the Dozos, not speed boosting. its attack boosting despite having Fissure.
Yeah,
just
I think
seems
speed
like a
would
weird-
be the play to that would be something I would want to do if I was running Fissure.
Yeah.
Something I'm also curious about in this specific Tatsugiri is that it's Citrus Berry, which is a little odd to me unless they are like bulking down on, because otherwise it's
Yeah,
not very.
Scarf isn't taken. I can understand why you wouldn't
Yeah.
be Sash with a Lycanroc on a sand team, but you know the Scarf is totally available, and that's definitely my favorite item. It's also got the funny Garchomp. They do got the funny Garchomp.
They do have funny.
They've also just got 2 Sand Abusers. And there's only like 3 entire Sand Abusers in the format with Houndstone. Being the one-
Houndstone, let's go.
the one pick
Houndstone.
left out. Yeah, cool to see this taking top 4. Congrats
Alright.
to Doom.
I'm gonna go ahead and move us on to the next one. This one was actually earlier in the week, maybe. Let me check when this one was hosted. This was on Wednesday.
One top cut.
What's up? What did you say, Roger?
One, the best of one top cut.
Oh, this was sorry. Yeah, I might have cut out for the people listening, but you were saying this was this was not the best of 3 Swiss or best of 1 Swiss, best of 3 top cut. We're talking
What
about
I want to talk about.
we're talking about the X9 League. That one's the next one. Yeah. Oh, they changed it to best of 3. They didn't even do the best of 1 Swiss or best of 1 cut.
Oh, then don't care. Let's
That was
skip
that was the whole point. So wait, is Scubar's team the same team from earlier?
It's the same one. I'm just checking.
Okay.
He was so base. They're just getting results after results.
Was Scubar the other person?
No.
So unless they
this
played
a
on a
mental
alt or
code or-
something, then
Same
it's 2
team.
different people using the same team. Worth noting, though.
Yeah, and they both did quite well with it.
Pretty well, yeah.
Maybe Frostmoth is.
Yeah, that's the same Beartic team. Oh no, not right. So you're on the wrong. You're on the other tournament page.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Kareem with a similar team to what Kyle used to win that other tournament, with a Gallade over there instead of whatever the Pokemon was in the last slot there. I do not remember.
Kyle's in here too already, in this tournament too. Tauros.
Oh, and
Aqua Green
okay, yeah,
Tauros.
and Kyle also had the Gallade there. Okay, so this was maybe the earlier version of it before it was, made into a tournament-winning team for the weekend. So let's look at the winning team, though. And that has another, I guess, but it's a Quackle Vol. We were talking about that last time. This one has Aqua Step, Close Combat, Ice Spinner, and Protect. I did not know he was one of the Ice Spinner Pokemon. That's pretty cool. Good coverage for it. Water Ice coverage is just solid all around. This one opting to be Terra Water, so I guess just to get the real bonus damage on that Aqua Step. It does also shed your fighting type weaknesses, so you're no longer weak to, notably Flying and Fairy. I guess Psychic too for expanding force purposes. So,
The boosting of the Aqua Step, because Aqua Step, like into Moxie, is your Dragon Dance button, right? So it's the button you want to be pressing as much as you can, or at the very least, you want to be able to press it first. So boosting that damage makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I agree.
that is the ramping move.
Yeah.
Just checking on my kitty. My kitty is asleep behind me.
Getting
Nice.
getting a free Dragon Dance because you took a knockout is kind of sick.
And then lastly, this is Terra Rock Shroom with the
I-
Aquaberry.
Don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but maybe it doesn't Terra at all, or maybe it's supposed to Terra in Sand if Sand is up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's
So,
no
Speed
sand.
Star Garchomp, Lycanroc.
It's Talonflame's worst enemy.
That's
actually.
true. It doesn't have Terra Blast though, but it can get off that
Oh.
score. Talonflame
Yeah.
hates Terra.
Is
Rock.
Talonflame really worth preparing for that much, though?
Okay, like I was joking, but yeah, it gets around 2 of its weaknesses and turns them into resists. Like
Well, perhaps so, because they're trying to set up the Volcarona on this team, right? So
that's all.
Um,
Yeah.
that
Like,
would make a lot of
sometimes
sense
it's
as a bulk partner and as a Quackle partner to be able to resist flying.
It also
fair.
resists Mousehold, which is
That's true.
Oh,
That's
true,
right.
true.
Based. Hold on.
Maybe Rock is a little better than I thought it was.
Question coming in: is Rajan sitting on the floor?
No, I have a cushion.
Ooh, get cushion.
Yeah, we were messing around earlier just before the stream to see if we could get the best lighting in Rajan's room, and it turns out that right next to these drawers is the best place we can be. So
now we're just checking out Rajan's drawers.
Oh, we also missed another request, which was just the color synergy of this team that won. I would say it's okay.
I'm gonna say it's fine. I think if the Murkrow is shiny, it's maybe better.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm extremely overwhelmed by the color synergy. There's 3 Blumons. Big Sharp just kind of doesn't have great... Like, Big Sharp and Amoonguss both are just kind of, like, grayscale. And Volcarona also kind of gray. Like, maybe it'd be better if it had a better order.
Maybe. If it Volcarona's first, maybe?
Like, I'm just not generally a fan of Greymons.
Like Digimon or whatever?
True.
Well,
No, it's
just war in general.
What about Metal Greymon?
things. One, I want to see
That's Terra Steel.
I want to see Jack of Spades Man's team. And 2, just to respond to Summit City Jim, who seems to be roasting me. This is my childhood bedroom. I'm at home for the holidays.
Okay, so we're looking at the Jack of Spades Man team now, and yeah, so this one has Goggles armor. Let's see some of the other things that stand out to me. This Pawmot opted for Nuzzle over the Double Shock with a Terra Fighting.
Love that choice. I love that choice.
So in case you didn't know, Nuzzle does go to 60 BP if you Terra Electric, but this one's Terra Fighting, so it doesn't matter. But,
that's true. It does. It's one of those moves that gets the increased base power.
100% Para is pretty good, but I don't know if it's worth getting up to your 120 nuke.
I know that one's Terra Fighting, but I'm a big fan of Terra Electric Nuzzle because like you get to have the support option from Nuzzle, but then also randomly Oko Gyarados if you need to.
I'm a fan of Terra Electric with Double Shock.
I think there's some cool synergy with Terra Electric Double Shock. I'm gonna have to agree with Nick here.
I think it does all of the damage. And
I think you don't need to paralyze them if they're dead.
Yeah.
Ah, he got me.
Otherwise, things worth noting. I would say the only other thing I would note about this is the Sylveon opting for Yawn. Sometimes we see Quick Attack in that slot. Sometimes we see Yawn. I think both are fine. I probably have a Quick Attack preference, but I think to each their own.
I'm a pretty big fan of Yawn personally. I think that it just passively applies a solid amount of pressure, and or not passively, like you have to click the move, but it just it like trades one of your turns for one of their turns and also forces them to switch, so it just kind of can reposition their board and not go negative on turn counter. So it's like pretty cool.
Got a question from Abe5. Is the Nuzzle thing a glitch or a mechanic? It is a mechanic.
Yeah, it's just a mechanic. You'd have to probably look into it more. Maybe DeWabbleFed or somebody else on Twitter has a better
I looked into this mechanic.
What's that?
Like I actually did a decent amount of the research for it. Basically, any move that isn't multi-hit or priority, after applying like every modifier for it, if the base power for it is 60 or is lower than 60, they bump it up to 60 if you are Terra'd and it's a stab move, like on your new Terra type. It's like you Terra into water and you use Water Gun. That'll get boosted up to 60 base
Chilling
power.
Water?
Also true. Clear Smog, Nuzzle, all of those moves that are like just a little bit below 60 base power. They basically just didn't want Terra to feel bad if you like Terra'd and used Bind and it did like no damage. And on the topic of Bind, that's probably one of the best applications for it. Are the semi-trapping moves, so like Sand Tomb, Fire Spin, Whirlpool, those guys. Like it's still probably not worth your Terra. Like the best of users probably Tinglu for the mechanic. But that's my little sidebar about that. It's a pretty generally like low impact mechanic, but it's more than 0 impact.
So for Terra Pop Bomb, no, that would not work because it's a multi-hit move.
Yes. Yeah, you can't, and you can't Technician boost after it. It's the last modifier added before.
Unplug your headphones. Unplug your headphones, brother. This is terrible.
Rajan's not vibing with the scratchiness of Nick's mic. I'm hearing it too. I'm imagining you guys are hearing it, but
I did the test. I muted everybody in the channel, and then I muted Nick, and it went away.
Is this better?
I mean, yeah, you do sound nice. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if there's any other teams from this tournament that I want to talk about. Looking through it really quickly, there's like definitely some interesting stuff, but
I think the only other thing to note before we kind of move on, assuming you're still on the
Hero Screed!
is that third place is Velocity, and I think he's coming back to the scene.
that
He's
is
been
awesome
away
to
for a
see.
while doing undergrad stuff in like astrophysics or whatever he's in. I think he's whatever.
Go blue.
All right,
But,
we'll talk
yeah,
about this
he's,
one
he's
last
accurate.
team. Go ahead, John.
What?
Oh, never mind.
sorry.
I'm just gonna move us on then. But yeah, that's that is cool to see Grant coming back. You know, there's a lot of players coming back with Gen 9 because it's just I think it's VGC's very hype right now.
Top
Yeah,
four
Rajan
in
wanted to talk
26.
about Heroes Creed team, not Heroes Screed, whatever you said.
What's wrong with
I think it's Heroes Creed, but anyway.
Absolutely right.
Let's talk about this team. This has got a relatively standard Dreadnought, the Focus Sash Pelipper, with Terra Flying to do some big damage with the Hurricanes. Choice Scarf Serena, a Sableye with the wide lens, you know, to make sure you don't miss Snarl. And then
Make that choice too. That's someone who's after my own heart.
Specs Toxtricity with the Overdrive, Sludge Bomb, Boom Burst, and Hex to pair with the Will-O-Wisp from Sableye. Okay. And
Double damage is
Terra
double
Flying if you
damage.
can get it. What's up?
Double damage is double damage.
That's true. So yeah, Terra Normal Toxtricity, it's really only got... Okay, so it's got like 2.5 partners. It can go... Obviously, it's boom bursting next to Sableye. It can boom burst next to Wide Guard on the Pelipper. And I guess King Gambit could just say, like, yeah, I'll deal. Like, it is Assault Vested and a Resist.
I kind of feel like it still takes a quarter of its health.
Because
I mean, if King Gambit's taking a quarter of its health for its for the Toxtricity, they're taking 100, so don't worry.
That's true.
yep.
Overdrive's just one of the coolest moves. I think that like Overdrive only hits the opponents, right?
Yeah, it's a
not
spread
like-
electric move that only hits them.
Like that's just a really good move, and I do think that this format is hurting in a lot of ways for good spread moves. Like we have Garchomp, we have Sylveon, and we have like Goldango, and we have Torkoal, but I said good spread moves.
So this
I
all sounded
think-
pretty good, not gonna lie.
I think Toxtricity can hang out.
Yeah, Toxtricity, like, and I will also say that, like, the electric types are kind of lacking. And he ticks that box, too.
Stats for the decks. That's all I'm saying. Cool guy.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next tournament then, where we are looking at the finally Russian the
but I
Duran's
was
tour.
played.
But I think I apparently Evan was saying that it was changed to just best of 3 Swiss, best of 3 cut. But the big thing floating around this tournament before it I guess went live was that it was going to be best of 3 Swiss and best of 1 top cut. And before you look at that and think, well, that just makes absolutely no sense. What is going on? It was because of the holidays and to save time so that, if you were playing cut the next day, it would just be quick. I don't know. I mean, the idea is funny, and, open team sheet practice is open team sheet practice. You take what you can get. But maybe they ended up going back on that because of, I don't know, people complaining or whatever. I don't know the full story.
My guess is it's just people in Top Cut saying, yeah, actually we want to play best of 3.
So this tournament and the next one were both really small. So I was basically wanted to talk just about the finalists teams, mainly because I'll move ahead and spoil it. This player named Ike, who I'm not sure exactly who they are, but they won both of these tournaments with I believe the same team. Wait, let's just put it like this. So Ike won with a team of Dragapult, Talonflame, Gardevoir, Goldango, Mousehold, and Garchomp. And it's Ike. Ike. Okay,
IK is baller.
is a Japanese player. Okay. So IK was using a T. Yeah, I mentioned the 6 Pokemon, but yeah, it's got the choice band, it's got the choice specs. Is the scarf there?
I
No,
think
it's
EK
not.
goes- it goes Jap-
Oh, EK. Sure.
Okay.
I'm working on my Japanese. I should know better. I'm sorry, guys. So EK. With the CB. Oh, CB flamethrower Dragapult. I mean, if Kartana was in the format, I'd be a bit more understanding of that. I also don't know what Dragapult runs instead anyway. Like what is it? What is the choice band?
You
Sucker
got
Punch
a couple
usually?
options.
For Outrage.
Yeah, I don't know if Outrage is the, but that is a move.
I know Outrage was the one.
Sucker Punch, I think, is what. Nick
Oh,
was saying.
Sucker Punch definitely
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense to me. Let's see. What is flamethrower even? Yeah, what is flamethrower even hitting?
I think it's hitting like Steel Hydreigon maybe, like.
Sure.
But I think if there's Steel Hydreigon, you're supposed to just
It
use
probably
Twin
hits
out of
Big
it.
Sharp, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hits King Gambit.
I don't know. You're probably not Big Sharp.
Through this Pokemon's move pool, but surely there's another option.
Takedown.
Double Edge, even, or
So otherwise,
Like, the fourth move is terrible on Dragapult, whatever, like CB Dragapult, whatever it is. So
yeah,
I don't
you're
need-
clicking dart. You're clicking darts every turn this thing's on the field. So.
Yep.
And telling your opponent good luck. So
you
anyway,
could technically put, like Dragon Claw or something, but yeah.
no, it starts. It's always darts.
it's always darts.
Just click
It's
darts.
always done.
So yeah, otherwise, a lot of stab Terras on this team. I think that's worth noting. I think every Pokemon except Mousehold is stab Terra. So
Yeah.
that is just like
Yeah,
the
this
team
is-
is just
Just go damage,
here to
damage,
do
damage.
damage.
This is aggro. This is melt your face. This is kill them before they kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect
Props
it.
to EK for, I guess, refining like pretty heavy offense, which we haven't seen too much of. Like we've seen a decent amount of like the Murkrow stuff, and it's usually pretty offensive. But this takes this up to 11.
Yeah, I like it.
Like just straight up, I think it's pretty hard to make a more aggressive team than this one
Mm-hmm.
in the format.
And this one also just has like good speed control options, with the Talonflame obviously being the premier Tailwind setter that's going to, make sure that this team hits hard, hits first. But Gardevoir can deny the opposing Trick Room and, also set it up yourself if you're against if you're like in a Tailwind mirror. And I think that's really cool.
One
This
thing
team
I
has
struggle
24 EVs in defensive stats.
What's that?
This team has 24 EVs in defensive stats.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just 4 HP across the board.
Yep.
Yeah. Wait.
Like, I would have a hard time putting the pieces in the right spots, especially if I wanted, like, Guardy to deny Trick Room or looking at a team. Like, I think I would have a hard time positioning one needing to have Guardy on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But surely EK did not have that problem
It
and
looks like a cool
was
team.
able to demonstrate it really impressively.
Yeah, no, playing like really aggro offense is not easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff scares me.
Have no margins. Like, if you F it up, you lose the game.
I'm looking
That's not necessarily true.
Like, but it is very difficult. I find it very difficult, but maybe that's just my own lack of skill issues. But I find it
yeah,
very
like
difficult.
I think if you pull off murder correctly, you do just kind of roll over people.
I'm looking at the teams in I think 6th through 9th, and I think they're just like all the same team. Maybe even include 5th. Like they're all just the same team.
There's a
Like,
monkey. There's a
Mons,
mouse,
like, pick 6 of them.
there's a Sylveon. Like none of those Pokemon that I mentioned are on all 3 teams, but they might as well be.
No, the Ape is on 4 out of 5. There's Goldango on 3, Hydreigon on a lot of them. Yeah, it's just, and then Murkrow everywhere. Wow. So let's talk about the second place team from Evney37, the runner-up.
Arboliva!
And we got Arboliva. Arboliva with the Seed Sower ability. This one is Strength Sap, Grass Knot, Earth Power, Protect. I think this is, and with the Citrus Berry, it seems like a pretty solid mon to bring into Dondozo. I imagine Dondozo's getting you that 120 base power Grass move, and Strength Sap is keeping it from running over your team with damage.
Yeah, blocks Earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems pretty legit.
That is very cool.
Into exactly Dozo.
And Grassy Terrain is a boost that Unaware doesn't block.
I think additionally is that if you happen to have like back Lilligant and you're still Grassy trained, you have like absurdly powerful Leaf Storm when you come in, which is like at
You sure
some
do.
speeds is pretty good.
So I gotta say, current theory, this Lilligant was just like caught in an in-game raid, and
There's
just-
no other explanation, right?
For sure, for sure.
they just said, "This is the one I have. This is what we're rolling with." 'Cause that is just no. There's no reason that you go Ice Tiger.
Yeah, and even the Terra Grass on Arboleda is probably pretty sus.
Yeah, I would believe that
It makes-
Arbolive would want to
makes
Terra or
sense,
something else,
A
but
little bit of sense, but like relative to the
Oh.
Lilligant, which makes literally no sense.
I would argue that it's correct because apparently that Grass Knot, if it's max modest in terrain with the Terra, does like 90% min to 252 Spid F plus 2 Dindozo.
is it doing that much? That's awesome.
It's a little fat.
If you have the damage
manga's
calc,
pretty
you should
hard, I guess.
just post it in the Twitch
Drop
chat.
it in the chat. Let's get it.
Oh my god.
I suppose this
That's
manga
a
is pretty
li-
hard.
that is what we call dam in the industry.
That's a little bit of damage.
Let's go,
Yeah,
Arboliva.
Arboleda.
And you know what? If you don't end up finishing it off, you can just instruct it and do it again. Yeah, I gotta say though, one thing to mention about the Lilligant is that it might be Terra Ice so that it doesn't lose its focus sash to hail damage.
Yeah.
That's
With-
a big good take.
and with that, yeah, the rest of this just looks like standard Trick Room stuff. Yeah, I think it looks solid. Let's go ahead and move on
Proud
to
of
the.
the Grass Knot pick for what it's worth, because at least I kind of wrote off Grass Knot as a move right now just because of
Because of
generally,
Naruto.
yeah, like generally in the series, like when you don't have the fat mons, you don't really need Grass Knot. But
I mean, it was
I
unplayable in
realized-
Gen 8, so just
Yeah.
Yeah,
it might
but,
be
like,
one of those
also, like-
people forgotten about.
But not even lack of forgetting. It's like most of the Pokemon in the format aren't heavy enough really to warrant it. Whereas they just decided this is what I'm bringing into Dindozo, and Grass Knot is optimal. So I really respect that.
So then,
What did they lose to?
what did they? Oh, they lost in the finals, right?
Okay, they didn't lose to
Other stuff.
Dozo in the finals. So
Yeah, true.
props.
Would have been
We
sus.
did that segment last week of, oh, people. This person has a mon that's very clearly there intended to beat Dozo. What they lose to? Yeah, they lost to Dozo.
I think actually the first Dozo, or the highest Dozo in this tour is 10th.
Mhm.
That is pretty surprising.
Yeah, we were
I
talking
guess
about
they
last
just
week how
have
he was just running
Good
everything.
Dozo.
Looks like the
Um,
losses. Oh, it doesn't show the teams though. In the finals and to Pocket League, is that okay? Or Pocket.
It also just looks like there were not many Dozos in the field.
Yeah, that looks true too.
No, it's just the sample team. I see. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This Warrior Gym S Series 1 VGC. We'll just talk about the runner-up team because we already talked about EK winning 2 tournaments over the weekend. And yeah, let's just talk about this runner-up one, and then we'll move on from this one because these were relatively small. And so we got the Umbreon. Umbreon with Snarl, Yawn, Foul Play, Protect with the leftovers. Terra Dark. I feel like the Umbreon is one I would choose a defensive Terra on. You know, that makes sense to me. But Snarl does get that base power bumped up. The Foul Plays, they start hitting.
Wait, hold on. Snarl's a spread move, right? So it's not getting
Yeah, it goes up to 60 base power. It doesn't
It
get any
does?
more. Yeah, it doesn't get any more boost. It just gets +5 base power. But it does.
Okay, sure, that doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
Umbreon does get the super stab though. That's worth anything. Like
Foul
the
Play
Snarl
kinda
will, the
chummed.
Snarl will hit a little bitter, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
Foul
matter.
Play.
like Terra Dark Foul Play is gonna hurt stuff.
That's good stuff.
I do like that. Yeah, putting extra multipliers on that, you know, you might start to see some real damage. I could see Dondozo taking a pretty respectable amount from it.
Should take
We
like
have a
40.
question in the chat directed at me. It says, hi Alex, thank you for your awesome team. I broke to 29th at Nino Pokebro. Well, congrats. Did I come up with a replacement for Dreadnought? I would say not yet. I, ended up doing a ladder session, and I was bringing Dreadnought a lot more, so it was kind of showing its role on the team. I just didn't quite play those teams in the Liberty Note tournament that I originally entered with it. But in terms of upgrading it, I am just kind of exploring other options for Rain. So I don't know if I would necessarily say I'm replacing Dreadnought as just kind of like reanalyzing the team as a whole. And I'm looking at that damage calc, Roshan, and I am very sad.
You know, I'm also very.
That's also not how the calc works. Just pick
okay, so
those up.
does okay? That's a question I've had. Foul play, Dindozo, how work?
It's the same damage as plus 0.
Yeah. So what do you mean that's not how the calc works?
You had plus 2 on both of them, and the calc is wrong.
Wait, so would he need to take away the +2s? Because it should just be the same as plus 0.
Taking away the plus 2s will get you to the correct answer.
Oh, because unaware doesn't do foul play correctly in the calc. I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So it's actually double that.
Like I said, it does like 40.
we got some damage.
Good mental calcs.
Wait a second. So are you saying that I have not been putting foul play on Pokemon because my Dindozo calcs have just been absolute and utter dookie?
Oh, was this a no top cut tournament? Let me check it out.
The phone.
Yeah, it was just 7 rounds of Swiss.
Yeah,
I
it does
see.
appear to be 7 rounds of Swiss.
I mean, I got no problem with that. It's still open sheet practice, you know? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's just, you know, like, open sheet practice is not as easy to come by as opposed to, you know, like, past years where we just, you know, practice by laddering or doing, you know, the occasional best of 3 with friends. But when you're trying to train for open team sheet tournaments, I think just getting any number of games in is valuable. So,
Yep.
let's...
Practicing, looking at their sheet and analyzing what you need to bring and
mhm.
like planning out your games before they happen.
It's a completely different game. Like, it's not such that, like, I do disagree with folks who are completely dismissing the value of non-open team sheet practice because games are games, but you really do need to jump on the opportunity to, like, just analyze team sheets because that's its own skill.
Mhm.
But I have heard
Honestly, for players who are looking to get open sheet practice, just go through tournaments, look at the opposing team sheets, and plan out what you would do into them. And that just by itself is probably going to be pretty good practice.
honestly, essentially how I practice for the bar exam. You just look at the prompt and do it in your head and outline it out, and then not play the game or not do the practice essay. That's all you have to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we have one more tournament to talk about today. That is the Terra Square #2. This was, I believe, a offline, like a live tournament with best of 1 Swiss, best of 3 cut, 74 players, and it was closed sheet. So pretty different than you know, what we're practicing for. But at the end of the day, we're all playing the same format, so you can still take away some things from looking at the teams. And we don't have, you know, sheets to look at here, so we just have the 8 mons. But the team that won, we do actually have the paste for that one. It was posted. The tournament was won by UV Slow, and the Pokemon on that team was Sableye, Tauros, Volcarona, Baxcalibur, Grimmsnarl, and Amoonguss. And we're going to have to lean on John a bit here to talk about what's actually on the team. What are some of the move choices? And I mean, we know the item pictures, but, you know, moves and abilities if you wanted to help us out.
Sure. So let's break it down. First of all, the Sableye, it did gain screens in this gen. It also gained like a bunch of other cool stuff.
Green, right? I thought I had one.
No, that's both. So
Oh,
it's-
no, like, it used to just have one, maybe?
No, it didn't have any of them.
John would know. Okay, don't challenge John on Sableye,
Anyway,
all right?
so it's got double screens, and then this one's running Encore Foul Play.
Mm-hmm.
I think Encore Prankster, I think is the only one that gets it this gen, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the only one.
I
Both
thought
it gets
if
Encore and Disable.
I got it,
Okay,
Hmm.
well, if
I
another
would
Prankster gets it,
tell her that Grafai gets it.
I think I guess, yeah, maybe Grafia gets it too. But anyway, this does get Encore and Disable, but Encore is the better of the two since you can actually guarantee their options is just 1 instead of like 4 or whatever Disabled is. Okay. But yeah, Light Clay there. The Volcarona is running standard like Terra. Well, it's not Terra Grass, but it's like the Terra Grass Quiver Dance set. Giga Drain,
This is
Heat
with,
Wave.
yeah, but with Terra Water. So
Oh,
it's
the
got the
Terra Water
Giga Drain,
instead.
Heat Wave, Quiver Dance, Protect.
The Baxcalibur is running Terra Blast. It's running Dragon Dance as well with, this is a interesting one, Icicle Spear with loaded dice.
So no Glaive Rush?
No Glaive Rush. But this does hit 4 times guaranteed, which is 100 base power ice move. With sometimes it's 125. Pretty smart, but it's Terra Electric, so I guess they're just going for the Bolt Beam coverage there.
All right, so another Bolt Beam. That's crazy.
And they are running the stabilized older cousin, slightly disheveled Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why we needed John here to translate, because you look at a team and
more disruptive.
When you see the 6 Pokemon, you're like Sableye, Grimmsnarl, but that just seems so overlapping. But this, the ability, John, what's the ability on it?
The ability is Frisk. This is a Frisk Grimmsnarl, and it is Fake Out, Spirit Break, Parting Shot, and Taunt. So this is like, if you've heard some other like creators talking about Parting Shot Grimm and how maybe it's not like so bad because you do have to like be prankster to use it, is that this is like the slow Parting Shot that Incineroar used to do, which means you get to pivot last, and that's really important. And this is like maybe a prime example of how to use Parting Shot Grimmsnarl. I'm not saying pranksters shouldn't run it, but like this is a slower, you get to position around your opponent's next turn, as opposed to I just do it and then get out.
Now though, we would use Pickpocket Grimmsnarl, right? Because TPCI thought that Frisk was so broken they had to nerf it with open team sheets.
That's true. You could just get to run Pickpocket Grimmsnarl, which, if you ever do eat your Berry, you start snagging some items.
What a little prankster. Moving on, we have the Tauros Water Breed, Aqua Breed. It's running Jet, Crash, Close Combat, and Raging Bull with Assault Vest. I think a lot of them are Assault Vest. It's just a pretty good item in general. The Mon has really good bulk. Has a lot of options to run. Aqua Jet for priority, of course. It's Terra Water, just more damage. Looks like that's pretty much its job there. And then Amoonguss is Mental Herb, which I think is good regardless of whether you're closed or open, because you just like are saying, hey, I'm immune to taunt for a turn, so make sure you have other options to play with me. It's Rage Powder, Spore, Clear Smog, Pon-Pon, so fairly standard.
And the Terra Poison was maybe a lack of time getting the team ready, you know, or maybe they just really...
Clear Smog gets the Terra bonus and goes up to 60 base power.
That's true. Actually, wait, now that Rouser puts it like that, you know what? What was
Dust
that thing?
grass coverage, which they
Damage is damage.
Damage is damage.
This is this is a really cool team. This is basically like when I look at this team, it's, you know, set up the 2 sweepers. You got your physical sweeper, you got your special sweeper, you got Quiver Dance, you got Dragon Dance, and just looking to have Volk and Baxcalibur do some crazy things. And the other things are kind of just built around supporting that. You've got your Fake Out, you've got your Intimidate, you've got your Redirection, you've got your Screens. This is just very much in line with the teams. I feel like we saw some stuff very similar to this in Gen 8, except the Volcarona and Baxcalibur would be built around Dynamaxing. But this team just, you know, has setup sweepers that go in.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of like, you know, previous formats where you'd have like, you know, a Bossmon that you build around, and then like you just center your whole game plan around they're doing all the damage. So in this case, it's like Moth or Baxcalibur. They're boosting up. You can disrupt them or you can make them fatter by giving you screens, or you can like disrupt around them using Fake Out, Encore, Parting Shot that's slow, and then you just like go. I wonder what the calcs are on Icicle Spear, because that is a pretty interesting thing you can do with loaded dice. Probably one of the only real things you can do with it. But yeah, like no Ice Shard, no Glaive Rush.
Like raw 25% boost on like Icicle Crash, right? Because Icicle Crash is like 80 base, and then you get at least a guaranteed 100 or even 125.
Even more.
It's 112 ish.
Yeah. So that's like 25% ish, maybe more like 30.
I'd say it's 125 because I am never gonna get unlucky.
True.
And if that's the case, right, it's just a big old damage boost. And I mean, Baxcalibur needs, if it's going to use the Dragon Dance, it probably shouldn't be running Glaive Rush, right? Because the way the mechanic seems to work is Glaive Rush will double its damage between Baxcalibur's actions. So if it's moving super fast, I do like that this Baxcalibur doesn't have Glaive Rush, and it's just saying ice coverage is crazy, I'm going to smack things with my 100 to 125 base power ice move. And Oko like Meowscarada through Sash and be faster than it and do a lot of that cool stuff. Now, I don't know what it is about Baxcalibur as a Pokemon, but to me, every Baxcalibur team kind of seems the same, even when they're very much not, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, this Baxcalibur could not be more different than the one that Kyle was running.
And it's
you
still
know?
like, it's like Kyle and Will's team. Like, it's the same thing. There's a Bax, there's a Tauros, there's a Fire type. What more do you need?
There's a mushroom right there too. Yeah.
It was a good weekend for Baxcalibur though, so I guess start respecting the Mon. The Mon's, in general, I'm a fan of it. I mean, if you look at its stat line, incredible, very high attack stat, good defenses. The only thing holding it back is that typing, and yeah, Terra is very friendly to it. It's got pretty interesting attack options for it, and I mean this one's just gonna be spamming ice moves, I imagine. So. Can your team handle that? That's up to you. That's, I think, just really cool.
And just a PSA.
The Mon is a raid boss. Still not the best raid boss in the format, but it's the second best raid boss in the format, and that's still pretty good.
By the way, you're for all you people out there who was like, Will-O-Wisp is my answer. No, it's not.
That's
the Mon can't be burned.
It cannot be burned. That's just like they really
cannot burn this Mon.
Did want to make this Mon cool. I think that's like it is just so cool.
Electric, it has no weaknesses.
If it does Terra Electric, it has no weaknesses because of the Terra. That's true. So
it's
yeah,
the first best raid boss, Nick.
What is it, Nick? I think he's actually seriously asking.
You said Bax was the second best raid boss.
Oh, Dondozo, it's the best raid boss.
Yeah, that's the actual raid boss.
Rajan, I want to mention that I watched the finals game back, not live or anything. But the runner-up team was using, you can see it's Glimmora. I think you are a Glimmora fan, right?
I'm a Glimmora fan until I used Glimmora.
Well, this one has Mortal Spin.
Okay, I'm a Glimmora fan. Let's get it.
Yeah, this one went for Mortal Spin in the finals, and it was actually it was against Sableye and Grimmsnarl, and it was just like, yeah, those guys are just both poisoned. They're ticking down.
It's a great move. I don't think I've been sadder since this format started. Like the day that I learned that Mortal Spin Corrosion didn't poison steel types.
You can still poison the Amoonguss though.
You do get to
poison, man.
Well, I mean, I care. I want Amoonguss to be ticking down. That Mon's annoying.
I was just really sad when I learned that you can't poison the steels, and I'm like, man, this move would have been so sick. This Mon would have been so sick.
All you need to do is give them a ring target, Rajan.
I forgot. Oh my god, I am so silly.
Okay, so other stuff that's worth noting and pointing out in the top cut, we see another Glimmora. We see the Floatzel raid.
Or a Dodo, though. Now that's a combo, right? You lead Glimmora and Mon, all right? You lead Glimmora and Kilowattrel. You discharge, give them toxic spikes, and then win with your.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works.
Yes, it is. Okay, fine. What's
it's
the
physical attacks only?
Yeah, it's only physical moves.
Then you lead Arcanine Glimmora, and you
actually wait. It's physical moves, not contact moves, right, John?
It's just physical.
Okay.
Arcanine Glimmora, and you bulldoze, and you give them toxic spikes, and then you win with Dentozo.
Okay, so you sacked. I mean, honestly, Hazard Suicide Lead, that does great in singles, Roshan, so I mean, I'm here for it.
I think something just worth pointing out is that I'm not sure what it is, but I think the Japanese player base is a little more interested in Glimmora than we are. Like, I guess this aside, but I think when I was playing LCS, I also saw Glimmora a couple times, or I was like playing on ladder and I saw Glimmora used by a Jappy. So I think they're maybe more interested in Glimmora than we are. Maybe we should keep an eye on that to see if they make anything come out of it.
Really cool options.
But for now, all I can really say is that, yeah, it gives your opponent toxic spikes when it gets hit. Yeah, it does hit pretty hard, but I don't really know if that's necessarily
It is like one of the top 5 special attack stats in the format. It's like really strong.
It is really strong.
It's also worth noting that there were only 5 Glimmoras in the Liberty Note tour, but 3 out of 5 of them top cut, which I think was just the highest rate of any Pokemon. And like small sample size on them, but like the average cut rate in that tournament was like 13% roughly. So like it was crushing the average.
Also say about Glimmora is as a Pokemon, it's the one that encountering on Battle Spot ladder confused me the most because I did not realize it looked the way it did, considering that I only looked at it on Showdown. Like I've never seen Glamora open before.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Rajan hasn't beat the in-game. I don't think you're even like to Gym
The
1.
Terror. I have the
You have the
Terror.
Terror. Okay,
All
good.
you
good.
need.
So he doesn't know what it looks like in-game unless he's playing on that.
I played on ladder and then I caught I saw the Glamora like opened up and that like I did not know what Pokemon it was.
We gotta talk about one last Pokemon in the cut here. I guess there's a Rotom cut, and that's not the one I'm talking about. It's the
I
one
think I know which one you're talking about.
It's the one on the Gothitelle team. There's a Lokix.
Caliber.
Low kicks back Excalibur though.
Yeah, dude, this is heat.
Lokix is kind of cool.
Low kicks does have that one ability that I can't remember right now.
Tinted lens.
Tinted lens.
Yeah. Oh no, I was thinking of Stakeout. Is that the other bug?
That's not on this mod.
That's not on this
Okay,
one.
that's the other bug. Yeah, Tinted Lens is a crazy ability. That ability goes so hard.
Yeah,
Imagine
especially
not
with Terra.
Having any not.
Just like
Terra bug.
you just Terra boost one of your stabs and say like, "Do you resist this?" No, you don't. And so that's really like funny for damage purposes. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is still a bug. I don't know how good this thing is, but I mean, I would be able to assess it a bit better if I knew the set. But
Yeah.
I know that it's got some fun options available to it, like Sucker Punch, like First Impression, U-Turn as well. U-Turn probably pairs well with Gothitelle, so that's funny.
I think it's got some options. It's like not the best, like obviously statted mon, but I think it's got stats in the right places. Like it's got a pretty good attack. It's got decent-ish speed, and then it has like an acceptable bulk for a bug.
No, there's no other stats, John.
I said acceptable bulk for a bug. Acceptable bulk for a bug.
Oh my god, stop moving the goalpost. But it has it is one of 2 Pokemon with the least necessary move ever made. And that is Axe Kick. I don't really know why that move exists.
They just printed High Jump Kick 2 for no reason.
I don't know why that move exists. There is no point in that move at all.
It looks
And-
cooler.
It and Medicham are the 2 mons that have it in the
It
format.
looks cooler.
So
There's no point to that move.
the last thing I want to say about this team is that Annihilate quad resists bug, right?
It sure does.
And the U-Turn is good on a Goth team, right? So maybe you just side U-Turn onto your Annihilate to give it a Rage Fist boost and get back to your Gothitelle.
I see it. And then which mon press perish?
The Annihilate, because it killed all your Pokemon with Rage Fist.
Perish Fist?
True.
But there is no
Imagine if
point
there was a
to that
move that applied Perish.
Annihilate says, "Let me sing you the song of my people," and then everything just blacks out.
Wait, is that true? I thought it... No, it
It's not
doesn't self-confuse.
It's a confused chance for them because they're like, how did you have an axe? You're a bug.
They're confused about why you're using Axe Kick.
They are.
Why is this not high jump kick, bro?
Okay, so let's move on to the actual circuit announcements. That's going to conclude it for tournament stuff. If anybody wants us to talk about any of the other teams at the end, feel free to go to those Limitless pages yourself, or the VGC Pastes Twitter account, and just look at any of the tournament results. Feel free to let us know in the chat. We'll come back to them, but I think this is some of the more exciting stuff because we're gonna start by talking about the VGC CP bar has been announced. So we've been waiting for this forever. I think they said that it was going to be announced late 2022 or just in 2022, and they did it, guys. We made it.
July.
It's late July somewhere.
It is late July somewhere. So let's see. Let's look at the numbers here. For Masters in the U.S., because I'm going to read the most important number to me first. That one is 300. For Europe, they have 250. Latin America, it's 200. Oceania, 200. Middle East and South Africa, 200. So overall, a lot lower across the board. I believe in reply to Billa's tweet, he linked Gabby talking about the old CP bars. And so for US, it's down by 100. For Europe, I think it's down by 50. Latin America, it's down by 200. Oceania, down by 100. And South Africa, down by... Or I guess that's the same, I think.
It's the same.
So, yeah.
But they include the Middle East now.
Yes. They are a joined region.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the amount, and what do you think are the main factors that the bar was lowered?
Well, so clearly the main factor is that the season is shorter.
Right? I mean, it's obvious, but I just wanted to paint it for the people.
Yeah, for sure. Aside from that, it's about the same. It does suggest pretty heavily that I think we'll be getting locals back, and they've announced that. But we'll be getting locals back for most of the season, because 300 points for, just 300 points for half a season would be crazy high. That equates to a 600 point bar for a full season, and that's not exactly how it works, but it's kind of how it works.
Yeah, I see what you mean though.
July, essentially, right? The end of June is essentially the last qualifying bar, and the 400 point bar from last year included locals the whole time. I think it didn't. Or last time we had a real one.
Everything. 20 and 29.
When we had the the four, but traditionally the bar has been a locals bar with locals the whole time, regionals the whole time, internats the whole time, and 300 with just regionals and internationals, especially with raising registration fees for regionals, is an extremely not inaccessible goal if locals were not a part of the question.
Yeah.
300 is a lot. If you think you can shoot top 32 at a regional every time, what's top 32 at a regional?
How many CP?
50 points, right?
Oh, 60.
Might be 60.
It goes from 100 down to 80 down to 60 from top 8, so...
Yeah, okay, so it's 60.
So, let's say you get in your budget, right, you get 3 regionals and an internats, right? That's a pretty reasonable, if not more than most people, travel schedule for Pokemon if you're not taking it reasonably seriously, right? To get to 300 with just those events, you need to be shooting top 32 essentially at all of the events that you go to. And that's kind of a lot. I'm not saying you shouldn't necessarily do well at events to qualify for Worlds, but I am just noting that there's not room for error without locals.
Yeah, or you can pop off at something, but
get the pop off.
It demands that you pop off or consistently do solid.
And I think that it's also worth mentioning that they could have changed things slightly. I mean, I think all the factors that we've mentioned already are the main things to consider, but it's also worth noting that Worlds is in Japan, which is going to be a lot farther for people, and so maybe they still want to have a good amount of representation from some of the regions that are farther from Japan, like Europe and the US, I guess. It's expensive to go to Japan, and so they are fine having there be more invites because they expect a lower attendance rate from people outside of Japan.
Along those lines, Alex, I know folks were talking about it last time when Worlds was in London, but now it's not as if the United States or North America are suddenly more able to get to Japan than, for example, Europe is, right? So the number of day 2 invites in the award, we have that info now too, right?
Yeah, I think it is unchanged across the board. So
that still blows my mind why it's 8 for the US and 16 for Europe when it's still a pretty it's not a it's not a capacity to enjoy the event kind of thing this time.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the reasoning behind that change is. There's a lot of different factors at play, how many people play events in the US versus the Europe, how many countries Europe is representing, because the US is primarily just US, Canada, and Mexico, and then also you have to consider that Europe has less regionals overall, right? So there's a lot of things those are the main things at play here, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
The US having more regionals, but Europe having more day 2 invites. You think those would probably line up?
Yeah, I know. I'm just mentioning the things at play.
Yeah. I just don't have any great insight or anything. I don't have inside sources that I've talked to. It just seems odd.
I agree.
And I mean, as an American player, like I guess I would rather have more regionals and fewer day 2 invites. But
True.
like I'm not trying to say that we got the short end of the stick on this. Given that like this is a trade being made, like, but it's just odd. But yeah, I assume TPCI has reasons for the things they do.
Yep.
Which actually, they generally do a pretty okay job. So I'm not going to throw shade.
It looks
Yeah.
like with it regards to locals though, we have Summit City Jim, who is TO. Currently, there's no news, but like I have a sneaking suspicion that they will reintroduce locals, but will they be in the same quantity as before? Probably not. Like, I think it's going to be up to areas having TOs again that are going to have to become active again, which I'm sure, at least me in the Midwest, I'll have some people for sure.
John is
Maybe for
swimming.
other people it won't be there. So like at this point in the game, your best bet is to like schedule out which regionals you want to go to, and make sure you have like enough practice and stuff. And yeah, again, I guess we don't have any news about when locals will happen. So until then, just keep using, you know, the online open sheet tours or like, you know, grassroots here and there. I think there was like one coming up in Illinois that, right?
Yeah, I believe there's one around here.
So like use those for practice, and then like once the locals actually come back, then we can, you know, you can reassess the whole how many of these do I need to go to? Do I need to do well?
Over at Alex's for the Illinois grassroots.
True. I'm trying to see if we have like BFLs for the larger events. Because like that's the thing that I'm kind of wondering with locals coming back is like we don't have all the information. Okay, yeah, we do have BFLs. We have BFLs for events like regionals here.
Interestingly
listed
enough,
as,
we
like,
still
6.
have 4 BFL for internets, even though we only have 3 VG.
That is good. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say about the bar. I mean, it's great that we finally know this before we actually start earning championship points. It would have been kind of crazy to be earning points and not knowing how much of an invite that actually is. So people are going to be much better able to plan out their seasons now. However, yeah, locals still a big question mark, and you know, people are going to feel pressured to attend more regionals if locals don't come back sooner than later. And obviously,
The whole point, Alex.
What's that? Oh, you think that's the whole point?
With increasing.
Oh, wait.
It's really just this is what we were already aware of was VGC was just a TPCI money laundering scheme, right? Because, and I think this is proof.
I'm
But,
I'm nodding furiously.
Bro, if they do a round table with players, you're not invited.
Oh no! It's
All right.
oh no!
So let's move
that was
on.
for legal purposes. That was a joke.
Let's move on to the last.
Already clipped it, sorry.
What's that? What's that, Nick? It's already clipped.
I already clipped it. You're going to TPCI jail. Sorry.
I am canceled. No.
So the last bit of information. I don't know when this went live, but Gabby tweeted about it, letting everybody know that this website link detailing basically how the event is going to be run at San Diego from a player side perspective for VG. Yeah, we're going to go through this and talk about the main highlights that you need to know. Obviously, this is kind of standard stuff. You have to be updated. You have to have 6 eligible Pokemon in the format on your team. Then register online on Arcanine Labs. That's also normal. I guess this was like something that we haven't talked about here, and it's like a small change, but you have to have your team done the night before at 8 p.m. So no, staying up all night, until
No
5 in the
3 a.m.
morning.
gang?
I'm going to go to bed before a regional for the first time in my life.
As someone who tended to have their team done ahead of time, this is a major nerf to me because my opponents are going to be fully rested. I
true.
do not like this change.
I don't think it's that nuts. I feel, Abe, I don't think it's that nuts. I feel like it's just I think this is just like you know when your team is due, you know, and so like moving it, 12 hours earlier doesn't change things. It should. I mean, like, yeah, it's like you have a 12-hour gap between when your team was locked and when you're competing, but I don't know. I feel like
is it printing the sheets the night before and they need enough time to set everything up so they can distribute it in the morning for a players meeting and all of the above? Like
That's a
they
good
need
point.
time.
Spoilers. That's where we're gonna get to.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm a
Right?
canceled and an asshole. What
right?
am I?
Can't believe this guy.
I don't know. I love that change. I am a person who responds well to deadlines and to consequences. And when there were no consequences to team submission, I did not sleep. Now I will go to bed before the regional. And that is exciting to me. I won't have a team, but I sure will be going to bed.
Yep. You'll be rested. You'll be playing better than ever.
I'll be playing better than ever.
So these last two things to mention is that they say don't have another copy of your team in the battle teams, and just have that be your only team. Or I think it actually just says only those 6. But they just basically just say, like, if you have another one, that's going to look suspicious. We're going to, kind of suspect you for cheating. So just have only those 6.
It does also say you can't have it in your rental teams either. So make sure you clear out your rental team because they're like separate.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good tip from John. And yeah, rental teams not accepted for the event. I think that was a thing last gen, so it's typical. All right, so now let's get to the first order of business that seems pretty interesting.
Wait, one sec. So is it that? So the way I was reading that rental team thing before, and maybe I misread it or read it too quickly or something, but I thought they were trying to say they don't want you to have any rental teams in your party. Is it just that they don't want you to have any rental teams with the same 6?
I think it's the same 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a big bummer, right? Because sometimes you'll want a rental team, and then folks will have to delete it, or they don't save it, and you can't get that team back.
No, they just want to make sure that you don't have 2 copies, so you're trying to like pull any kind of shenanigans, I guess. That's also covered in the level 1 thing. Did I skip past that?
Oh no, that's later.
That is later. Okay, so the player meeting is going to be in the morning at 9 a.m. and you are going to sit in alphabetical order for the player meeting. So instead of going to your first match, we're going to have everybody seated alphabetical order, and then you will be handed your official open team list. This will be the list that you share with your opponent at the start of the round. It is the responsibility of the players to ensure they do not lose this sheet. We've said so many times that this system, obviously this is them dealing with the cards that they were dealt, but this is just such a system that is like so, I don't know, it seems like it's so, how do you say, like English focused, it's going to be so difficult for people who like, primarily speak another language, and I don't know, this is just such a mess. It is such a mess.
I think it's maybe not a big deal in America since like English is the primary language, but when you think about like European regional, people who go to European regionals aren't all going to be like primary language that regionals area, right?
I actually don't think it's that big of an issue. You get your table number that you're supposed to go to, and you can you just pull up the Arcanine on your phone, and you find your table number, and that's where you go to, just like when you're finding your pairings. I don't think it's significantly.
No, that's not what they mean.
That's not what we're talking about, Nick.
No, Nick.
Wait, what?
To get the team sheet and read your opponent's team sheet in before every match.
Oh, sorry. Misunderstood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have a harder time just reading in general, or reading in English, or what have you, that is in fact an accessibility disadvantage.
Yeah, now call me, I'm not an expert on this obviously, but I think in TCG at like Worlds, you are supposed to just use a deck in your language, which means if you have to play like a Japanese player and you don't know like what a card they're doing, I think you get a translator to help you with that. But I'm not sure because I haven't played it again and I don't really watch it. But I think that's how that works. So maybe that's something they're thinking about for VG.
For internets, I think they use the lingua franca, or just like the spoken language of wherever they are, as the default for translations. And you just kind of have to, I think you just kind of have to know the cards if you speak another language, but I'm not an expert on TCG internets.
Yeah. I kind of assume though that like VG might run in that direction, since like, let's say
you don't speak the language of the team sheet, the physical team sheet that you're playing the event in, then
Lingua
you
Franca is not
probably
at all what I thought it was.
might need like someone to help you like pull up Arcanine Labs or something and be like, here's the team sheet. I don't know. I guess we'll wait for more guidance on that because I think Summit City Gym has some intel, but they maybe are not allowed.
That makes a lot of sense. And can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're better.
Yeah, my bad. My
Okay.
Discord swaps between things all the time, and I don't know why.
So, yeah, they also mentioned that is the responsibility of the players to ensure you do not lose this sheet. So, that is already going to be a mess. So many players are going to leave that at their table round 1, go on to the round 2, and
Maybe they won't leave it behind if they laminate.
laminating them will help a little bit.
Honestly, laminating is the move, right? Because that'll also stop your opponent from taking notes on it, and it'll also stop your opponent from spilling their coffee on
Okay,
it.
but what if someone shows up with a dry erase marker and then just
Oh my
writes
god,
everything?
and it's a dry erase marker, so you can erase it.
What
I
if it's
paid
Sharpie
$70
instead?
to enter. I can get you can laminate my team sheet.
That's honestly such a mood. They absolutely should be laminating these guys.
Wait, yeah, that's like
That's like kind of far down on my list of demands for. I paid
It's not.
$70
It is now
for
my
this
demand number 1. Laminate my team sheet.
No, my demand number 1 is still Day 2 Swiss, but
Mm-hmm.
No, laminated sheets are pretty.
they sure are.
Let's move on to the next section here. I think we can skip the first 2 paragraphs because they are not too noteworthy. But let's go. I'm going to start reading here. It says, "Connection will be made through a dock with wired internet connection. Please ensure your Nintendo Switch wired settings are on automatic and the system is in airplane/flight mode. As a reminder, you'll need a Nintendo Switch Online membership. I believe that was the case for Sword and Shield. I think. But
yeah, you needed an NSO.
yeah. Battles will be held over the Poke Portal, Union Circle. Player 1 will host the Union Circle with a random code. Player 2 will join. Once in, they will link battle over the Poke Portal, double battles, and official rules 1. Before you begin the game, please check you're connected to the right opponent. So, instead of, I guess, punching in a code that, one player decides, the other player decides, or it's like some kind of code based off of your table number. I think that's how they were doing it in Sword and Shield, right?
Yeah.
It would be
Sword
like,
and Shield was also over LAN, which I don't think this is over LAN.
yeah.
This is like you're just supposed to have like airplane mode on. You're in a dock still, and the dock is connected to the other dock of the opponent you are playing,
Mm-hmm.
and then you link that. So there's no LAN setting involved, which maybe is,
No, it is. It is. It's a
Burns
wired
is
setting.
saying it's over LAN.
this is over LAN, but it just says you have it on automatic instead of you set up your own LAN.
Yeah, so I believe that we're using land.
Okay, but it's not like. Wait.
It's
Okay, so
over
I'm
LAN.
describing LAN, but I'm not describing the same LAN from Sword and Shield, right?
It is different. It is different.
They will have a router? What is happening?
Said you just described land, John.
Okay, yeah, I did just describe LAN. I'm sorry, but
They will have a router. So, like, is there a router and, like, it's going to be, 600 people, 600 plus people connected to the same, like, I mean, there's
That's
going
why
to
the rules cost so much, because the internet has to be bananas.
I guess so. Yeah, so here's where things get dicey. With your Switch still docked, exit the Union Circle. Fill out the match slip. That's normal. Once all the match is complete. Yeah. So I think maybe the it talks about it in the FAQ. Why must I exit the Union Circle before undocking my Switch? This will ensure the game does not register the disconnection as malicious, which could lead to problems connecting in future rounds. That part is just making me feel really unconfident. Go ahead.
Beforehand, like, let's say you were playing, let's say you rage quit Battle Spot Ladder the night before because your regional team was not as hot as you thought it was. And you have
then you're just screwed. Like,
consequences before.
you are not playing in the tour anymore.
Like, are you just owned?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you can literally like, I guess is this like your cart? Remember, is it like if you have a physical cart and you DC, this cart remembers that you DC'd, so they won't let you on, even if you switch system. Sounds really.
I just feel like you can get held hostage from playing in ways that really aren't your fault.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So our all-star judge in the Twitch chat, Summit City Gym, says don't rage quit. That's not actually completely true. It's just if you want to rage quit, you have to commit to it. There's no halfways on the rage quits. If you're gone, you're gone. So make sure you're mad enough.
True.
But I'm just saying, right? Like, what if you, like, there's a weird, I don't know how the DCs work on, like, Battle Spot, and I very clearly don't know all that many things, but I really don't, it doesn't seem that hard to, like, have your power go out, or to, like, disconnect on the Switch, and then they get mad at you for playing, right?
Burns is wondering if you can get your opponent banned from disconnecting. I hope not. I do hope not.
I don't think so.
Mutually assured destruction.
I don't know.
Let's see. Union Circle helps.
Well, I will say that it's like I think it really only happens when you're communicating with the player while doing something, and it's not just you sit in a union circle. Because like I've had friends' Wi-Fi's go out while playing in a union circle, and then they're not banned. They just have that. So maybe it's like only during battles or trades or terror.
Prediction / hot take is this is a 600-person 10-round regional. And even assuming that there's drops in later rounds, there's at least 2,500 matches going on during this tournament. So just statistically speaking, we're going to be dropping like flies. Like,
yeah, it's going to be a mess. This is the first regional on this game, so like there's already going to be some hiccups.
Yeah, I'm calling 25 people DQ'd because they rage quit from a game. That's just like 1% of the games, right? And
Sold have safety goggles. Who puts that on the mouse? And then it's gone.
And then you're out. There's no next round of Swiss. Like, that's a really low bar to clear to just get yeeted from the tournament.
There's a lot of angry.
Stay safe, friend.
Hang out at the X3 tables like I do, people talk a lot and they get mad a lot. Like, for being out of the tournament, they get really pissed really fast. I don't know what's up.
So let me talk about some of the other frequently asked questions here, because I think there were some other notable ones worth talking about. The first one talking about, not having any other teams with the same 6 Pokemon. That's just to make it easier to hack check you. What are penalties? What are the penalties?
Of the level 1 one.
Yeah, they just said they said it's a major team error and could be a game loss. If you believe they are, cheating, call a judge. If you cannot lock battle teams, how will teams be checked? Random checks will be made at the end of games to ensure the teams being used are the same. So that's just like random hack checks. When it says end of games, I assume that means the end of a whole round. They're probably not going to check you after game 1 or game 2 if you're.
It's like they've done this before. They just like have a judge spot check you after you finish your set.
So then, when will I receive my opponent's team sheet? You swap team sheets when both players are sat down and ready to begin the match. Once the match is finished, you return the team sheet to its owner. For this reason, you are not allowed to make notes on the team sheet. I wonder if you are still allowed to have a notepad and to make notes. I also wonder if you're allowed to take
surely allowed to have a notebook.
My conclusion is yes.
And then I also wonder if you are allowed to take a picture on your phone of the team sheet.
I think that's a no.
That seems like a bit of a weird.
I'm curious about that one.
Maybe Mike has an answer. But yeah, can you just like whip out the phone and take a picture of their team sheet?
Yeah, I think you're not allowed to have your phone on the table at all. Like, it has to be in your pocket or like in a bag.
Right, but this is just like, I guess you swap when the match starts. So I guess it's maybe like, they say round 1 you may begin, and then you swap. So I guess then you wouldn't really be able to.
So then you have to make your skill and team sheet, like, you have to figure this out. Like, you have to have enough time to read their team sheet, make your game plan for game 1, and lock in your mons in that 90 seconds, right? So that really is a pretty, because if you're only getting the team sheet like literally as you're starting the game,
you still have to make a game plan on the fly.
like yeah. So
there's some kind of cadence about you pass the team sheet over face down, and like when you enter the game, that's when you can flip it over, or is that just gray area?
I thought Nick was implying like they give it to you face up, but you give it to them face down, so that you get the 2-second advantage of them flipping it.
Seconds, like I'm just is that legislated in the rules? I guess I'm basically just asking Mike in the chat, because
You've activated my team sheet.
I think my opponent took a picture of my sheet.
All right, let me see your phone. Give me your phone. Open up your pictures right now.
Your phone.
Because can you just hold on to your own team sheet until it says the 90 seconds start, and then you say, okay, here we go, and you trade, and you your opponent is just forced to start looking at like 127 on the clock. Like,
yeah,
I hope you're a speed reader.
It's kind of wild.
Anyways, this sucks. I don't like it.
Thankfully, we don't have to deal with handwriting. That seems to be eliminated here.
Oh, that's why they have it at 8 p.m. the night before.
Yep.
Alex.
Yeah, they need to print off 600 team sheets and laminate them for sure. Laminate, please.
Yeah, laminate prevents like a lot of things. So if they can afford to laminate it,
they can afford to laminate it. Don't even finish.
I think lamination is less of a cost question and more of a time question.
$4 for the some lamination. They got 70 from each of us.
That's true. They did do that.
They talk about the level 1 Pokemon question.
Actually doing it.
So they talk about level 1 Pokemon. They basically say, "Hey, please don't do that," because it's shady, and we know what you're doing, and if you can just level them up a little bit so we can better hack check you. And yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, level 1 Pokemon, for example, Arcanine is a good Pokemon to look at for this. You can have a fully battle-ready Arcanine at level 1 because you use a Firestone on a Growlithe that you just hatched. You EV train it without leveling it up using, the vitamins and the wings and whatnot, and then it's just battle-ready. But if you wanted to, speed up your Arcanine to max speed, and then for another match make it so that it's just max HP instead, you could kind of fiddle with those without the Arcanine showing that, because its stats would all be 7 or 6, despite EVs.
Yeah. A stat at level 1 takes 400 EVs worth of EVs, IVs, base stats, whatever, to bump up another point. It's 8 EVs at level 50. That's what we're used to working with. So just you can go from 4 to 252 in a stat, and depending on the Pokemon, it might not show it. So there's a lot of room to fiddle with EVs at level 1. So I'm glad they caught that. I honestly would have preferred it if they just said don't show up with level 1 Pokemon. But this is
a mid-level.
At least they know about it, and judges are going to be on the lookout for it.
I would have been pretty happy with a mid-level, right? I think you need to be at least level 10 or higher on everything, and then just say
and then once you get to level 10, that's just that solves pretty much all the issues. You can do a little bit of stat fudging with level 10, but that's still going to be caught by the rules that are currently taking out level 1. But it's there's a lot less of it that is legit. Not that it's really that relevant anyways, but just you want to discourage cheaters, even if it's not even if it doesn't change actually catching the cheaters in practice.
Yeah, so the reason that we're playing in the Union Circle is so that it reduces the chance of you getting banned from online services in case of disconnection. So that's I mean, this whole thing, I'm reading through this and it's all just it just feels like so many hoops we have to jump through. Just I mean, mostly the tournament staff. because they can't lock the boxes. This is just so messy. I do want to bring attention to one. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said bring back live competition.
I
I know I'm barking up the wrong tree here.
Right? I do want to bring attention to one message in the chat from Evan that I just find really amusing, which is print the team sheet on a t-shirt. Could you imagine just wearing your team? Just saying it's right here, bro, if you want to see it. I mean...
Like what you see?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the Mons do get auto level to, yes... yeah, they do get auto level to 50, so no level 1 strats or anything, and yeah, Mike, I'm sure that it is awful from the judging side, just with the game that we were dealt with.
To go a little further into the level 50 thing, they started doing that in Gen 7, right? Like before that, you could theoretically run level 49s or...
Yeah, no,
Gen
Gen 6 was the level 49 Groudons. Gen 7, I was really excited to use Probopass when they announced the decks. And then they said no. Level 2 Probopass was going to be lit.
It sure was.
What is that, Sturdy Endeavor stuff?
It gets Pain
Split. That one's a Pain Splitter.
That's even better. That's just a free Super Fang every turn.
But it didn't have a prio move, right? To like actually finish it up.
Okay.
I don't remember what the set did. But it was just funny.
Evan, what if? Hear me out. They have 4 laminate machines because they don't cost that much.
It's like Terraing your Levitator to fire. They won't have any weaknesses due to the Terra.
All right, so. That's pretty much it for this topic here, and that was the last topic of the show. If you guys have any more questions about this or about anything we talked about today, feel free to let us know while we're kind of like wrapping things up here. I think this was pretty fun. We got to cover a lot, and they definitely, couldn't cover it all. So if there's something that we glossed over, if there's something that you just want to ask now, I think there was one question that I said, hey, we'll talk about that at the end. Let me go back up and see if I can find that one.
Hot takes.
Oh, yeah, they asked for hot takes. Thank you for remembering, Rajan. So, I mean, we could all just try to give one metagame hot take if you guys have one. And this is, I'm going to, if you can make it as, like, light as you want. I'll start with, like, an easy one, and that it's something I've already shown on the team that I used in the Liberty Note tournament, is that, like, Pelipper does not need Focus Sash. I think Pelipper with Bulk is really cool. I don't know what's the best item to run on it, but I think that the Pokemon is bulky enough to take a lot of hits, and so there's no reason to sash it. Oh, Vern has jumped on my lap. Hello, Vern.
Yo.
Say hi to the stream.
Does because I want to steal it. Mine is that Grimmsnarl sucks.
What about with the screens or the set that we saw earlier?
No, it was. That's why I wanted to go next, because I knew you were gonna say it.
That was actually going to be my take.
Wait, so like just Grimmsnarl in general, or the screen set?
Grimmsnarl sucks. Like screens suck. Like I don't care. They are fun. I know. I knew that was gonna be Nick's take, and I wanted that one.
I can expand on Rajan's take after he's done, because I have a lot to say on this topic.
You know what? Why don't you guys just twin on yours and, go ahead, Nick. What do you gotta say?
Grim is ass.
Because I feel like people would want you to explain it if you chose to go for a different take. So just do the same take, Nick. What's your take on it?
So Grimmsnarl's support kit was like tailored perfectly for Dynamax. All of its like base, it learns Fake Out, and then literally every other move it learns the support move just works fine with Dynamax in play. And so a lot of other supports just couldn't like use Encore or Disable, or like just a ton of other different moves that are like core for how they want to play the game. And Grimmsnarl's kit just worked. And so Dynamax broke all the other supports and just left Grimmsnarl as the only support left. And now all the other supports can come back, and Grimmsnarl just is kind of mid support. It was always mid, but everything else was worse. And so Grimmsnarl was the default. So yeah, now you don't have to use Grimmsnarl. So you shouldn't use Grimmsnarl because it's not very good.
fine, but then there's the opportunity cost of needing to have a Pokemon with screens, have screens on your moveset, and then press the button early enough such that it actually impacts the game, which is pretty stifling when you could just have other Pokemon, because now at this point it's not like putting 80% of your eggs in the Dynamax basket and then like the 20% of your eggs on like your other stuff. So I just don't think it does enough. And then also, everyone's throwing Parting Shot on that guy. I think Parting Shot was cool, but it sucks. Like,
Parting Shot is good on Pokemon that have a reason to want to be on the field in the first place and like get value out of swapping around. Like, so Incineroar, you can Intimidate, you can Fake Out if that's what you're into. I'm personally not like much of a Fake Out clicker, but like Parting Shot's great. Like Incineroar's amazing, and it runs the move. You don't click it much, but anyways, like, and then you can Parting Shot out, so that you Intimidate's back live, and it just is a damage reduction engine. Grimmsnarl has Prankster, and there's no benefit to just sending Grimmsnarl in. So it has to like do stuff to like get value. It doesn't have any passive value generation, and so that's just like Amoonguss has regen, etc. Like, it's just Parting Shot is just like it's a good move. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but it's just okay. It doesn't carry them on.
So John, why don't you go ahead and give your tub take for this? I'm liking that somebody mentioned this, because I feel like if the show's called Tub Takes, we should give, everybody on the show should give at least one tub take at the end, right?
Not an original thought, but it's fine.
Okay. So
you went into the future and stole Nick's. You said it yourself.
True.
I skipped the turn order because I knew Nick would have to say it.
Okay, so you're the Grimmsnarl with Prankster, and he's the Grimmsnarl with Frisk. Is that what you're saying?
No, they just said Grimmsnarl together. Oh, I get it now. I get it. I see what you're saying, John. I get it. Maybe Pickpocket?
Oh, he could.
Abe asks, what makes Fast Parting Shot on Grimm worse than Fast Parting Shot on Alola Persian? Good question. So, it's kind of that Alolan Persian's not very good either. It was fine in 17 because it lined up nicely into the meta, specifically Kartana. I was feeding Kartana and getting to foul play, it was cool. But also it did everything else at the fast speed too, and Grimmsnarl doesn't. Persian had a cool defensive steroid and fur coat. But yeah, the answer is Alolan Persian also just isn't very good. And Grimmsnarl's in the same boat of it's okay.
Dark types quickly. You can Parting Shot a Hydreigon. With Persian, you can't do that with Grimmsnarl.
Also, unless you're Frisk.
Unless it's Frisk, though.
I need you to raise the camera, buddy.
Me? Why?
Wait, what? No, the Verncam is amazing.
Verncam.
I was actually going to have that as my backup hot take, is the Verncam is way better than the Alex Cam.
Right.
I also think
John.
that's a bold take.
John, go ahead and
here's my hot
yours.
take. This might be a little burnt, but basically I think that Terra Normal Facade might be a real idea someone can follow. I've seen it once or twice. Usually you're using your Gutsmon just to hit stuff, but if you Terra Normal, now you have a base 140 stab move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be useful to think about if you're trying to build a Trick Room comp, because pretty much all of them want Trick Room, except for Heracross. But the mons I was thinking of are I guess Heracross was one of them. But also things like Ursaring, which is maybe a mon that has calcs with an Eviolite that I haven't looked
into. Ursaring has stats. Ursaring has stats. Yeah,
Ursaring is well statted. The only problem is you can't burn yourself off because you're holding an Eviolite.
Yeah, I ran an Ursaring calc the other day. I'd have to go find it, but I think it was with Terra Normal Facade. It was one-shotting Amoonguss with max.
It's an absurd
everything.
Pokemon. The mon has some ridiculous stat allocation, but I mean, someone's gonna have to find that out because right now I'm not messing.
Ursaring is in the game, Abe. But it can hold Eviolite, but Ursaluna is not in the game.
Not yet, anyway.
That's Pokemon, and then they also said you can have an Eviolite.
Yeah.
The only other Pokemon I'd want to mention with the Guts Facade stuff is Flareon, who.
John, you forgot the actual good one.
Oh, you mean Hariyama? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
Hariyama. I
actual-
don't have to mention that Pokemon. People know what it does, right?
I'm also not totally convinced this is good.
I don't think it's like
'cause,
great.
like-
I just think it's worth as a damage output. In a vacuum, it's doing damage.
It's doing damage, but it's doing less damage than Terra fighting close combat. And so you can hit flying and psychic types, I guess, with it.
Fairies.
And very sure.
Yeah. Although if
Um,
you're talking
so yeah,
only
it-
about
like, it's those for
Hariyama,
neutral
right?
damage.
And poisons. Nick, you can hit a Mungus too.
Hitting Mungus is nice.
Sure.
There's poisons. There's fairies.
But
Those
it
are the
is-
actual.
The Terra normal is just weaker than Terra fighting.
Bug,
Unlike
you
all
can
those
hit
guys.
Volcarona too. You forgot the actual meta threats.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
Interesting point. Hadn't thought about it like
I
that.
think another user of Facade is like Dragonite. So you know how it's like Terra Normal Extreme Speed, but what if you get burned? Well, now you can just have Terra Normal Facade.
I do buy it on Dragonite.
I can respect
Dragonite's probably a
that.
great user. And
So-
Like,
Oh,
I think it's a solid power move on Dragonite since you're pretty committed to Terra normaling it, and it's
So-
a backup plan for Kikani speed.
We have
Sure, let's
another
look at that.
question here from Ray-Ban Caesar asking, what's your top 3 upcoming Pokemon? I think 3 is a lot, so I think I'm just going to reduce it down to 1. For just Pokemon in general, I think you can count anything that's not currently legal, so whether that's a home mon, a returning mon, or, you know, like a Paradox or something. What's one Pokemon you guys are excited for? Whoever wants to go first.
Wo-Chien.
Rajan wants
The
Wo
snail,
Chen.
baby.
A
You're not allowed
snail.
to give descriptions of that Pokemon on stream, though. Sorry, it's above our rating.
Gary. I like Wo-Chien a lot. I like passives a lot. I like the design of Wo-Chien and Tinglu a lot, and I like passive damage reduction that doesn't involve pressing buttons. I'm a friend guard boy. I'm a whatever the ruin abilities are called. I don't actually know what they're called, but I like them. I don't like pressing reflect. I don't like pressing light screen. I like switching in my intimidate. I like switching in my reduction. And I love Wo-Chien. He's so cool.
Shoutouts to Pokealex if you know, you know.
Spoken like a true Tapu Bulu user says.
So
Mr.
true.
Bulu.
I mean, it really is the new Bulu.
It really is the Bulus.
Like
Um,
it. It has foul play. It has pollen puff. It's just such a cool little guy.
Who's got another mon that they're excited for?
I am excited for Iron Bundle. I just think
Bundle.
that mod is such a glow up. Like, you think
Yeah.
of Delibird, you think about, wow, it's so bad. Like,
You're only saying that because you did Delibird raids yesterday.
no, dude, I was looking at teams and there were Delibird teams in tours, and I was just like, this mon does these things, and it's the only mon that does these things, but it's really bad. Like, anyway, Iron Bundle, it just seems
At
like
Delibird.
absurd attacker support, like threat. Freeze dry Hydro Pump, super good. Icy Wind support, that's good too. I don't remember what else.
Flip
it has. I think it has
turn.
Encore. Flip turn, yeah, it has that too. But like I kind of said this a long time ago when I was like talking about it before the format stuff came out. But it's kind of like if you took Kartana's like 4th removed cousin, and then that was
I see
That
what
was-
you mean. I get what you mean.
It's got some Kartana vibes for sure.
yeah, like it doesn't do anything Kartana really does other than like be frail, especially. But it reminds me of Kartana. Like that's all I can. And I love Kartana. I look forward to that.
Nick, is there a mon you're hyped for?
I'm gonna take the free space and say Fluttermane, but I'm also gonna say that I'm excited for bulky Fluttermane because it's got a really cool both defensive and offensive typing. You don't really need to invest in the special attack and speed because they're so high, so you can just shove all those points in HP and defense, and you have a Trick Room setter. You have just like a damage, it just does a ton of damage even without investment. It's still really fast, but I think that mon is just insane. It's already been banned from Doubles OU, so look out for that guy when it becomes legal. It's probably going to be one of the best Pokemon.
Oh, for sure. All right, I'm like a little bit compromised right now, Nick. If you can see what we're dealing with, but
Oh, that is tough.
my take, I'll give my take down here.
I'm gonna say Ursa Luna. Just as a Trick Room fan, that mon seems crazy. It's got so many stats.
And it's got a good ability. It gets to run the Flame Orb, unlike Ursaring. And it gets Headlong Rush, right? I think that was its move before anybody else. Ursaring didn't end up receiving it, but yeah, Headlong Rush, Facade. That Pokemon's going to hit like a truck in Trick Room. That guy seems so cool.
Ursaluna's got the like King Gambit problem. It's like where you look at the stats and you go, dang, its problem stat is base 80. And then you go, huh, this mon is crazy.
It has stats everywhere.
It's like one of those min-max Glastrier Calyrex kind of BS mons. And it's just like, has everything you could possibly want and guts.
Yep. And bulletproof if you're into that.
It's the
can't shoot
only
that
mon. We currently don't have any legal bulletproof Pokemon. This is a bulletproof legal Pokemon. You can give it Terra Steel, and now it's completely trash in Goldengo. Because now it's finally immune to Shadow Ball.
That is funny. That is
Make It
fun.
Rain? Break It Rain is not bullet, right?
No, but you resist that with your Terra Steel.
Oh, okay. That's what you...
But now it gets to finally get a Shadow Ball immunity on
Do
its
we know?
hit.
Do we know if Armor Cannon is a bullet move?
That's a good... I don't know.
My guess is that it's a cannon move and not a bullet move. But like,
Wait, cannon moves are Mega Launcher, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah?
I was trying to make wordplay that.
Sure.
Technically, it is
Okay, those are pulse moves. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what they were
So
called.
bulletproof is supposed to block bomb and ball move, is what it's supposed to. But I don't think it's going to
bomb
block
move?
population bomb because that's not actually a bomb.
That's a cutting move. What are you talking
No,
about?
that's a cutting move.
Yep.
That's so funny,
It was also a cutting
Something
move.
was definitely lost in translation there.
for sure. They had a little too much.
So let's answer one more question. If anybody else does have questions, feel free. But we'll make if not, this will be our last one from Abe, which is top 6 mons going into San Diego.
I'm not answering that. Abe just wants a team.
I mean, I was going to reduce it. I was going to reduce it again, Raj,
Top two?
just one.
Top one?
from,
Okay.
from everybody. Like, what's one mon to watch out for? I'll answer this one first because this one's maybe quicker. Thoughts on Focus Energy Hydreigon? I think it's solid. I think it needs a turn of setup, and the payoff is you're hitting as hard as choice specs. So like, it was. It's like okay. I'm not like blown away by it,
Doesn't have
but
to leave the field.
what's that?
After clicking Draco, you get a choice specs Draco that can just sit on the field and spam Draco. But is that always going to be a good strategy? Like, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes. I don't care for these non-believers. Focus Energy Hydreigon, when you have redirection, is a good Pokemon. But
Sure.
the flip side is most things when you have redirection are good Pokemon.
Kind of true.
so is it like getting enough value out of that? Is the question, and is it good enough when you aren't able to click it? Is also the question that I would raise.
It does
Every time-
smack
every time
Dodo
it
a
brings
lot.
Yeah, it's really, really good into Dondozo. And it's like even unboosted Draco does some damage.
Well,
Every time I think of Focus Energy, though, I always like think back to like the crit drug build, which were like Sniper. They just did so much damage, but like they were niche for a reason. They weren't Swift. So like, I don't know. It's just the same thing here.
I think
King
back to
Season of the
ZTL and Cortana.
But you think
What are the sleeper anti-Dozo techs? Skill swap Sableye.
skill swap anything really? But yeah, I guess skill swap Sableye, which is another move it gets for this gen, is something that I haven't really explored too much yet. The real reason you want to click it is to check Dondozo, but you can also do that by burning it. So, sure, if that's worth it.
Um,
Who knows?
okay, so B-Dog, in the answer to your question, what are the sleeper anti-Dozo attacks? So you got like Amoonguss is like the big one. Just scores it. Hypnosis Gothitelle is quite good. Yon Sylveon also can put it to sleep.
Not through sub though, which you would think. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Azumarill. That's a sleeper anti-Dozo attack because it can sleep it through sub. And it also like is immune to dragon, resists water, Okay, yeah, I'm going with Singazu as my sleeper sleeper anti-dozo check.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and grass. For
I'm
sure.
gonna go with Skeledirge because people are still sleeping on that one.
Yeah, I like Skeledugi a lot. I think that's just a very, very, very good Pokemon. And it just gets to do a lot of things into Dodo. And also other stuff.
Like, I'm not gonna say Skeledirge beats it at base. You probably have to Terra, but like I think 1v1 you are Terra'd and they don't have the appropriate coverage to beat you, that you are winning those trades. And Torch Song does go through sub, which is maybe good if they're like grass. If they're not grass though, it's like
I don't know what you want from me, Burns. I said Skeledugi. That's its name.
Infiltrator. Yeah, no one has figured out Jump Bluff yet, which is kind of odd because I feel like it has good traits.
Oh, on the Infiltrator train, there's also Infiltrator Wisp Dragapult.
Mm-hmm.
There's also
And,
Infiltrator Wisp Spiritomb.
Spiritomb is funny. We
Spiritomb
talked
is
about
what
that
I
one,
think.
we talked about that one last week.
Or Infiltrator Leech Seed Bramblegast.
I think you might have gone a little too far.
I don't know.
Am I about to look at Noivern's move pool? You bet I am. Have I done this before? Not for years.
Really? I look at it every other day.
John, don't know. John, you're not.
Bro, it's got Boom Burst.
No, shut up. Nell said I have not looked at Noivern's move pool for years, and John took that with personal offense.
You don't? He's so cool.
I scroll past them on and I appreciate it.
I look at...
Holy
I've never
cow,
heard
this
John.
one got
I have
wild
never
charge.
heard.
That's gotta be new, right?
The wild charge? That is wild.
Noivern gets wild charge.
There you have it. It can finally beat Gyarados. That's been a
I get
problem
so
holding
much
it back
for no
for
reason
years.
to.
Single one of John's last like 16 teams, no emotions. I haven't looked at Noivern's moveset in 3 years. You mother effer.
All right. I think that's going to be where we wrap things up today. Feel free to let us know what you want us to, if there's anything you want to see us do next time. Just feedback is great. Feel free to leave that here now or, in Adi's YouTube video that's going to be posted in a couple of days. I don't really have anything to plug or shout outs. The Twitters are on the stream.
Ass. Why do you what? This one sucks.
No,
Do you guys know that Noivern gets
Why are you
Moonlight?
hurting my boy?
it gets Moonlight.
What's Moonlight?
This mod is terrible.
It's a
man.
bat.
Oh, it's good.
It's a bat.
It sure is a bat.
It's Speed Ties Meowscarada. It's good.
It is in fact a bad. This mod sucks.
I don't think
Moonlight is
they.
definitely
It's not
not
very
new.
good.
It definitely had that before.
I don't think these guys are going to stop talking, so I'm going to have to cut them off. I also my cat broke a plant back there or pot, so
Uh-oh.
I need to go deal with that.
Again?
What?
I don't know what noun did you say?
A plant pot plant.
Okay.
Dude, well, you got pot plants?
And that's going to be it for Tub Takes. I don't have any kind of witty endings, so goodbye.